Good morning everyone, welcome back to Desserts with Dakota. I hope you all are keeping healthy and staying safe. Today we're going to be making blueberry muffins, so I'll just go over all the ingredients that you guys are going to need and how much of everything you're going to need. So we have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. You can use whole wheat flour if you want, it depends on if you want it white flour or whole wheat. We have 3/4 cup of all granulated sugar. Yeah, that's the only thing you can really use for that one. We also have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can use sea salt, you can use Himalayan salt, table salt, any kind of salt that you can find you can use. We have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then we have just a random amount of brown sugar just for sprinkling the top of the muffins at the very end. We have a 1/3 cup of oil. You can use canola oil or vegetable oil, those two would be the best. You can use olive oil, but you will taste it a little bit in the muffin. And then we have a 1/2 cup of milk. You can use any kind of milk that you have. And then we have 1 egg. You need the egg white and the egg yolk for that. We have 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then we have 1 cup of fresh blueberries. You can use frozen as well, it doesn't matter. The frozen will be a little bit mushy when you add them in, but that's fine, it'll all blend together in the end. So for this recipe we are going to use a bigger measuring cup to add the wet ingredients. It'll just make sure that in this recipe, it just will make sure that we add all our wet ingredients up to 1 cup. And then we have our muffin tray with our muffin cups in there. This is for when we are making the muffins, and these are so that we don't need to grease the muffin tin, and it's easier to clean as well. So we'll get right into putting all the ingredients together. We're going to start with the dry and then move on to the wet. So we're going to start with our flour. I'm just going to add that in there. And then we're going to put our sugar. And you want to make sure you sprinkle it all in there instead of just plopping it all, just so that it's all evenly spread. And then we're going to add our salt. We want to make sure we never go over with too much salt, because then it'll just be salty muffins. And then this is our baking powder. And we are going to mix this all together. Make sure it's all mixed and get all the flour from the bottom. You can tell when it's all mixed because you can see the sugar in the flour. The other stuff blends together, but in the end we can do an extra mix just so that we know everything is all mixed together. And that is it for the dry ingredients. It'll be pretty smooth. And then we'll set that aside, and we'll bring in our measuring cup. So this one is a 2 cup measuring cup. You can use just a 1 as well, it doesn't really matter. So for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to take the egg and we're going to put it in the measuring cup, and then we're going to take our oil and add it as well, and then we're going to look for the 1 cup mark on the measuring cup. So it's just right there, and we're going to take our milk and we're going to add it until it hits 1 cup. So once it does that, then we can mix it all together. You want to make sure that you crack the yolk of the egg. And once that is mixed, we'll take the dry and the wet, and we will just combine the wet into the dry. If it's too dry, in the end you can end up adding more milk, but with this recipe it should be enough. And you'll just mix it until it's all combined. If it's too wet, then you can add some more flour. I wouldn't add anything more than milk and flour. Make sure you get all of the flour in there. And then you can add the blueberries. And then we will go ahead and add the vanilla. Just sprinkle that on there. The vanilla just gives it the extra flavor. You can put it in with the wet ingredients, or you can add it on at the very end. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. And once it's all mixed and you have all your flour in there and your blueberries are evenly spread out, then you're done with the mixing. This recipe may or may not make 12 muffins. It doesn't look like a lot, but you can make as many as you can with the dough that you have. Alright, and once everything is done mixing, all the flour is incorporated, the blueberries are pretty much all spread out, and even when you're putting it all in the muffin cups, then you can add in the blueberries, and then if you also have extra blueberries, you can add one on top of all the muffins. And now we will move on to putting them in the muffin cups. So for this, you'll just use a spoon. You'll just take as much dough as you want, and you'll just drop it in the muffin cup. You'll most likely need to use your fingers, as it is a thicker dough. You'll fill it about 3/4 full. If you want a muffin that has a bigger muffin top, then you can fill your muffin tin a little bit more. But the less you put in the muffin cups, the more muffins you can make. If you put not enough batter into your muffin cups, then you will have a very, very little muffin with no muffin top. Alright, in here it looks like they're all pretty even. And then you're going to take the brown sugar that you've had set aside for this whole time, and you're just going to sprinkle it on top of each of the muffins. It just gives it a little bit of extra flavor. And sprinkle it on top of all of them. It's no set amount. You can put as much or as little as you want, or you don't even need to put it at all. It just gives extra flavor. You can also use just regular granulated sugar. You don't need to use brown sugar. Either or works. Just keep sprinkling until all of them are finished, or you can even do half a tray of them sugared and half of them not. Alright, and once they're all sugared, then they are ready to go into the oven. Your oven would be preheated to 400 degrees. You would have done this before you started mixing. If you forgot, you'll just need to wait a little bit longer to put them into the oven. But 400 degrees, and they will go in for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until you insert like a toothpick, or you can do a knife or a fork, and it comes out clean with no wet batter on it. So we're now ready to put our muffins into the oven. It was preheated to 400 degrees. And you'll just put your muffin tray in. And just remember, they go in for 15 to 20 minutes. While they're in, you can do the dishes, listen to music, read a book, anything, or you can just sit there and wait. And then once they're ready, we'll take them out. Alright, so now it's time to take them out of the oven. It's been about 20 minutes. I've inserted a knife and it came out clean, so I know that they're all done. You want to make sure you turn your oven off, and make sure you use oven mitts so that you don't burn your hand. And now your muffins are ready. So our muffins are all done, so they're ready to eat. Make sure you let them cool down a little bit, and then You can have them. If you eat them now, they'll burn your mouth a little bit. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get notified when new videos are posted. We'll keep in touch for next week for Desserts with Dakota.